Hey guys, my name is Battle, and today I'm going to be showing you how to really easily set up isopods, also known as pill bugs, wood lice, things like that. I specifically have giant candy isopods, but this would work for a large range of tropical isopods or even like temperate isopods, basically just not arid isopods, but it's basically the same thing, just less water. So I'll be setting up them either temporarily or permanently, depending on if you're breeding them, or in my case, I'm just trying to breed them / hold them in a container until I get them to the terrarium they're supposed to be going into. So let's get started. Here's the container I'll be using. It's just a plastic tub and it's 6 quarts if you were wondering, but size shouldn't really matter. And I have a bunch of isopods that I picked out of my iguana's cage as I was redoing my iguana's cage, and I plan on putting them in here and holding them until I use them in different terrariums. So first I'm just going to start off with substrate, and substrate is a mix of eco earth, which I buy like 9 bricks for like $20 something on Amazon, and then it is normal topsoil, which is basically like the dirt that you'd get at like a landscaping company, because my dad works at a landscaping company. Then I mix it with sand that is also from there, also mulch from there, so like organic mulch, and also it has some actual pieces of cocoa husk that I ripped out of coconuts while I was in Florida. Or I found coconuts and I carved them out while I was here, and I added that to it as well. So that's basically it. This has a bit more sand than the majority because I was mixing it to be used with like to grow cactuses. So some of that has like that white sand, and that white sand is actually not from the landscaping company. It's actually from a beach in Florida. So as you can probably tell, I like collecting everything whenever I go places, so then I do not have to buy it. So I get the only thing really that I buy in this substrate is the eco earth, and since I don't take very much from the landscaping company, they don't really care. So I'm just going to fill this up to this line. So I think I'm just going to dump the rest in. And this soil is somewhat moist, but it's not really wet, let's say. Now, another good thing would be to add is like orchid bark, or like I said, mulch, like organic mulch, and sphagnum moss. Those would be 2 things that would definitely be good to add, but I don't have either one of those things. And obviously the isopods do really well in my iguana's cage, which doesn't have either one of those things. Next, I will be adding in some hardscape, which this will be just for the isopods to hide under and also breed within. So this is, again, all like stuff that I've collected. These are pieces like palm frond pieces from Florida. This is some driftwood pieces from North Carolina. And then I am going to, this is just a normal piece of driftwood, and this is also some type of palm frond from Florida. And I'm just going to be digging all that stuff into the soil, so then the isopods can break it down and, like I said, hide within it. And I put some in my iguana's cage. I found this kind of interesting. I actually put some pin oak pieces that I cut right off the tree. And a pin oak is basically an oak tree, but it grows straight up like a pine. And it had actually, like, I'm thinking, give me a second. The bark on it, there's very thin bark on pin oaks, and the bark on it had actually been, like, worn away by the springtails and the isopods that are in my iguana's cage. So there I have that all dug in and stuff. Here, I'm gonna just set some on the surface so then I can look under them when I check on these guys. And then I have the leaves, and these are collected beside my beside a local forest, and then everything here is sanitized, so any dirt comes in my room has been put in the microwave for 2 minutes, which ends up taking time, but it's not really too bad. And then any leaves have been boiled, and then I store them all here in my room for future use, as you can see. And then I will just drop in the isopods all across. And like I said, these are giant canyon isopods, so they get pretty big, as you can see here. And they can actually get, like, just right under an inch, I believe. And that the ones that I got these from Glass Box Tropicals originally. I got it was a small container like this size, and it had a couple of adults in it, and they were quite large, and that actually had a little bit of sphagnum moss in it, but it was similar to this setup, except just much on a smaller level. And then I put those into my 55-gallon iguana's cage, and then I ended up adding that dirt, which had tons of them, into his current iguana cage, which is much bigger. Now I'm just spraying it down because the lid is obviously not airtight, and it won't. The lid's not airtight, so some of the humidity will end up getting out, as you can see, like under the lid thing, which you wouldn't have to worry about watering it as much if it was an airtight system. But even if it was an airtight system, you'd probably want to drill holes for ventilation, because you wouldn't want to suffocate them or anything, considering there's no plants inside. So another thing, one more part of this, is that I will be, like, feeding them. What I'll probably do is start feeding them old crested gecko food, and every once in a while giving them a little bit of the iguana's food as well. Okay guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, put in the comments below. And if for more content, then subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in the next one.